Hi, boys and girls. It's me, Ms. Levinson, your media specialist. I'm ready for another story time. Are you? Well, let's get started. Today's story is Little Red Riding Hood. It's a folk tale passed down from generations to generations. However, this one is made by Jerry Pinkney. Let me just show you what he looks like. There's Jerry. He is a world-famous author. He has illustrated. That means he's drawn the pictures. An illustrator is a person who does the pictures, and the author's the one who does the words. Well, he has illustrated over 100 books for children since 1964. That's before Miss Levinson was born. And he's authored many other stories. His paintings have been put around the world, and he's received many awards. The reason why Miss Levinson has picked this story, because it's the end of February, which marks the end of Black History Month, although I do read a lot of books with Black authors, this one I wanted to show you. Do you see this award right here? This is the Coretta Scott King Award. Coretta Scott was Dr. Martin Luther King's wife, and she selects books that promote kindness and love and unity. And Mr. Pinkney, had won at least 5 times. So I'm really proud to say that the story we're going to read today is by an award winner, and it's called Little Red Riding Hood. Let's get started. In a small cottage, there lived a sweet little girl and her dear mother, who once made for her daughter a lovely red riding hood, like a hoodie. The child cherished it and wore it everywhere, so that all in the village, they would call her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, Mother cooked some delicious chicken soup and told her to go bring this to Grandma because she wasn't feeling well. But make sure you stay on the path, said her mother. Be certain to go straight there. Think about why Grandma said to go straight there and not to go off the path. Maybe she's worried about strangers, or maybe she's worried that Little Red Riding Hood would get lost in the woods. Let's find out what happens. So Little Red Riding Hood set out at once, and the gentle sounds of the child's footsteps in the snow, crunch, crunch, kept her company. There she is. Oh, how peaceful, she thought. And she caught a snowflake on the tip of her tongue. I wonder if Grandma will be surprised to see me. So she kept on going, and Little Red Riding Hood met a sly wolf. The wolf, who was always hungry, had a mind to eat her up at once. But he thought better of it when he heard the chop, chop, chop of a woodcutter's axe nearby. Oh, where are you going, little one? Said the wolf in a very pleasant voice. My grandma's not feeling well, said Little Red Riding Hood. I'm taking her some chicken soup and raisin muffins. I think Little Red Riding Hood forgot to keep what the words her mom said. Go straight there, do not stop. But I think she forgot. So the clever creature smiled. Does she live far from here? He asked. Oh, no, said Little Red Riding Hood. Just behind the mill, across the pond, next to the big oak tree. I'll join you, for I was just heading that way, said the wolf. So he walked along with the child for a short distance, and then he had an idea. Why not collect kindling for a fire? Just in case some of you don't know, kindling, it's just little pieces of sticks and firewood that from the trees and branches that you can put into the fire to keep you warm. Okay, so he said, it will warm your granny's heart. He is being sneaky, huh? That's a wonderful idea, said Little Red Riding Hood. Look, the snow has brought down many small branches. They'll make a good fire. So Little Red Riding Hood gathered as many twigs as she could carry. She tied the bundle with the ribbon that she had from her grandmother.
Well, in the meantime, that cunning wolf, sneaky wolf, slipped away to Grandma's cottage, and with great haste he tapped on her door. "Who's there?" said Grandmother in a frail voice. "Oh, it's me, your granddaughter," said the crafty scoundrel. The wolf said in his very best girly voice. "Oh, the door's unlocked," said Grandmother. "Just lift the latch." Now, why do you think the wolf went ahead of Little Red Riding Hood? Can you think why? Let's find out if you were right. So once inside, the wolf leaped upon the startled woman and gobbled her down whole, and then he shut the door and dressed himself in his grandmother's nightgown, and after struggling to get her cap down over his ears, the wolf, who was still quite hungry, settled into the bed, and he waited for his next meal. Now, we know this is a make-believe story. This couldn't happen. Not real, not true. So before long, Little Red Riding Hood came to the cottage. Tap, tap, she knocked on the door. "Who's there?" said the wolf. The girl was startled by the hoarseness of Grandmother's voice. "It's me, your granddaughter. I brought you soup and Mama's special raisin muffins, and I found some kindling for your fire. Soon you'll feel just like yourself again." "Just lift the latch and come in," said this voice. "I can't wait to see how much you've grown," said the wolf, dressed as Grandma. So the little girl opened the door and closed it gently behind her, and there the wolf lay in the bed with the sheets right up to his whiskers and Grandmother's nightcap, her head guard pulled straight down over his ears as low as he could manage. "Oh, put your basket on the chair and come closer," she said sweetly. "You're a head taller since I saw you last." Well, Little Red Riding Hood was anxious about Grandmother's poor health, so she went right to her bedside. "Oh, Grandma, what great arms you have," said the child in wonder. "All the better to hug you with, my dear," replied the wolf. "Oh, Grandma, what great big ears you have," she said. "All the better to hear you with, my dear," said the wolf. "Oh, Grandma, what great big eyes you have," said the little girl. "All the better to see you with, my dear." "Oh, Grandma, what great big teeth you have." "All the better to eat you with, my dear," howled the wolf. Well, with those awful words, the wolf leaped out from under the covers, sprang upon Little Red Riding Hood, and swallowed her whole. Well, a woodcutter nearby heard their screams, and he came to help them. All that wood goes for fire, for cooking, and for warming people's houses. So the man approached the door because he saw two sets of footprints. One was Little Red Riding Hood's, and the other one was the wolf, and he was worried. They were large paw prints. So the woodcutter came into the cottage, made his way towards the bed, and he saw the wolf was sleeping soundly. So then the man's great surprise, the belly stirred. That means that there was movement. And with one stroke of his axe, he killed the wolf and cut open the animal's stomach. And there was Grandma and Little Red Riding Hood. And they came out of the wolf's belly. Once she saw that her granddaughter was out of harm's way, her heart was filled with gratitude. Grandmother had never felt better. So later, after the woodcutter had buried the wicked wolf in the deep forest, he returned to warm himself by the fireplace where Grandmother had started a fire with Little Red Riding Hood's kindling that she collected along the way. They were all comforted with Mother's chicken soup and raisin muffins, and the sweet raisins reminded the girl of home and of what her mother had told her. So as Little Red Riding Hood readied herself to leave, Grandmother said, "Now, little miss, you be certain to go straight home." And that brings us to the end of the story, Little Red Riding Hood by Jerry Pinkney, who's an award-winning author and illustrator. Well, thank you, boys and girls, for tuning in. I can't wait for next week's story. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.